Welcome back. Quarter dollar. The vast chronicle of American coinage. Few stories evoke as much fascination as those surrounding Jefferson nickels, and none more so than the legendary 1983 USA coin, a specimen that has captured the attention of numismatists, collectors, and historians alike. The 1983 Jefferson nickel, minted during a transitional time in U.S. history, holds more than just its face value. To some, it symbolizes resilience, while to others, it serves as a hidden relic from a year overshadowed by economic uncertainty and rising global tensions. But to those who truly understand the world of rare coins, the 1983 Jefferson nickel is a treasure whose face value of $83 million marks it as a piece worth more than just its weight in nickel and copper. It's worth its weight in history, mystery, and myth. To understand why the 1983 Jefferson nickel carries such a mythical reputation, one must journey back in time to the roots of its design and the cultural atmosphere of early 1980s America. The early 80s were a time of technological advancement and political challenges. The Cold War was still in full swing, America was recovering from economic recession, and the country was shifting its focus to innovation and global influence. Amidst this backdrop, the U.S. Mint continued its mission to produce coins that served both practical and commemorative purposes. The Jefferson nickel, bearing the image of Thomas Jefferson, had long been a staple of American pockets since its introduction in 1938. Designed by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel was more than just a 5-cent piece. Its classical design featured Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and Monticello, his famous Virginia estate, on the reverse. By the time 1983 arrived, the coin had been in production for 45 years. While the U.S. Mint had made slight modifications over the decades, the essence of Schlag's vision remained intact. But it was in this unassuming year, 1983, that a seemingly ordinary coin would become the centerpiece of numismatic legend. To the casual observer, the 1983 Jefferson nickel appears no different from its contemporaries. It has the same metallic composition, the same diameter, and bears the same design. But there's more beneath the surface. What makes this coin so extraordinary isn't just its mintage statistics or its composition, it's the mystery shrouding a particular set of these nickels, a mystery that has fueled countless debates and theories. Numismatists who have examined these rare coins point to subtle yet significant anomalies. Some 1983 Jefferson nickels have surfaced over the years with uncharacteristic features, unusually strong strikes, mirror-like proof surfaces, and even minute die errors that suggest something went awry, or perhaps was done intentionally, during the minting process. These anomalies are rare and isolated, but when they appear, they send shockwaves through the collector community. Could these have been trial pieces? Mint experiments? Or clandestine productions slipped through by rogue employees? One prominent theory is that the Philadelphia Mint, which produced millions of these coins, experimented with dies intended for proof sets but mistakenly used them on circulation strikes. The result? Coins with exceptional details and luster, not typically seen in everyday nickels. The existence of such coins, however rare, has led to astronomical valuations in private auctions and collectors' markets. Some whisper about government officials having once acknowledged a few escaped test strikes, though these claims remain unverified and exist mostly in collector lore. But the myth of the $83 million face value didn't originate solely from the coin's scarcity or physical qualities. It stemmed from a series of private sales and auctions that shocked the numismatic world. In one particularly secretive transaction, a 1983 Jefferson nickel with flawless condition and a documented die clash error was rumored to have fetched over $1 million in a hush-hush exchange between two private collectors. From that moment, its legend grew exponentially. The coin, once worth 5 cents, now lived in stories as a multi-million-dollar artifact. And when figures like $83 million began being associated with it, whether through hyperbole, misinterpretation, or symbolic valuation, the myth solidified. It wasn't just a coin anymore, it was a phenomenon. The intrigue surrounding the 1983 Jefferson nickel doesn't end with individual sales or collector interest. Over the years, several of these coins have been analyzed by top grading agencies. The Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, have certified only a handful of high-grade specimens, each time raising the stakes for anyone lucky enough to stumble upon one in old rolls or inherited collections. Collectors and treasure hunters alike have scoured flea markets, estate sales, and dusty jars hoping to discover one of these fabled coins. One of the more famous tales involves a retired librarian in Michigan who discovered a pristine 1983 Jefferson nickel tucked away in her late husband's coin stash. Initially dismissed as common, it was eventually identified as an ultra-rare full steps variety, a type known for the sharp clarity of the steps on Monticello, which are often poorly struck. When graded MS-67 by PCGS, it was valued at over $60,000 at the time, and its worth only increased as word spread. That single discovery sparked renewed interest in 1983 nickels across the nation. What drives such fascination is not just rarity, but symbolism. The Jefferson nickel has always represented more than its monetary value. Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, was a man of intellect, principle, and complexity. He was a founding father, author of the Declaration of Independence, and an advocate for liberty. To have his likeness on a coin that later becomes a multimillion-dollar collectible seems fitting for a man whose legacy is equally treasured and debated. Moreover, the coin serves as a reminder of how value is not always inherent, it can be imbued, discovered, and elevated by history, context, and human passion. A simple nickel can become a multimillion-dollar artifact if it carries with it enough intrigue, mystery, and historical resonance. That's the real story of the 1983 Jefferson nickel, a tale of transformation, from the mundane to the mythical. What keeps the legend alive is the possibility that another one is out there, waiting to be found. It could be in an old coffee can on a dusty shelf. It might be sitting unnoticed in a forgotten bank roll or hiding in plain sight in someone's pocket change. Every time someone finds a 1983 nickel, they look a little closer, hoping to spot the telltale signs of rarity. It's this thrill of the hunt that keeps the story alive. In forums and online communities, discussions about this coin continue to spark interest. Collectors share photos, grading reports, and discoveries. Some claim to have spotted proof-like finishes, others report full-step examples, and still others trade rumors of secret hoards or government records lost to time. The narrative keeps growing, evolving with each retelling, like a modern folktale rooted in the metallic sheen of a 5-cent piece. The 1983 Jefferson nickel has become more than a coin, it's a symbol of possibility. For some, it's a reminder of a simpler time. For others, it's a financial opportunity. And for the lucky few, it's a gateway to a world of wealth and wonder that few ever get to experience. Its face value of $83 million, while symbolic, reflects the astronomical potential of a coin backed not just by nickel and copper, but by legend and lore. As the world continues to change and physical currency becomes less dominant, coins like the 1983 Jefferson nickel become even more valuable, not just in dollars, but in cultural importance. They are relics of an era, witnesses to history, and tokens of the American experience. Whether or not a coin can truly be worth $83 million is beside the point. In the world of collecting, worth is determined not just by markets, but by meaning. And by that measure, this coin is priceless. So the next time you come across a handful of change, take a moment. Look closely. Examine the dates. Pay attention to the design. That 1983 Jefferson nickel could be more than just another piece of forgotten currency, it could be your golden ticket, your link to history, your hidden fortune. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most mysterious and valuable coins, don't forget to like and subscribe for more captivating coin stories, hidden treasures, and historical gems. The journey into numismatic history continues, and you won't want to miss what's next. Next, 1979 quarter dollar. The world of American coinage. Some coins stand apart not merely because of their age or mintage, but because of the strange, unpredictable journey they've had since their creation. The 1979 Jefferson nickel is one such piece, holding more than just monetary value. It carries with it a tale of economic shifts, historical nuances, and collector obsession that stretches far beyond its humble 5-cent label. Over the decades, this coin has gone from common pocket change to a revered relic in the eyes of numismatists, historians, and those who understand the language of symbols and national identity. The 1979 Jefferson nickel is not just a coin, it is an artifact that tells a story, and its face value, now humorously said to be $79 million in collector circles, nods at the legend it has become. From its design origins to minting anomalies, and from hidden treasures to market frenzy, this coin's history is deeply woven into the fabric of American change and continuity. In 1979, the United States was facing numerous challenges: economic volatility, shifting political priorities, and a society grappling with modernity while anchored in post-war ideals. Amid this dynamic environment, the U.S. Mint continued its operation, producing coins for everyday transactions that were expected to fulfill their basic duty: represent value and facilitate trade. Among the coins minted that year, the Jefferson nickel remained relatively unchanged in appearance since its introduction in 1938. Yet in its apparent ordinariness lay a subtle magnificence. The obverse of the 1979 Jefferson nickel bears the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Designed by Felix Schlag, the portrait was chosen for its stately representation of Jefferson, reflecting the neoclassical idealism that still characterized American democratic self-perception. While many coins undergo redesigns to mark anniversaries or to reflect evolving aesthetics, the Jefferson nickel remained a bastion of constancy, perhaps a quiet reassurance in times of change. Behind this image, though, the 1979 minting introduced slight modifications that would go unnoticed by the general public but would catch the eye of future collectors. What differentiates some 1979 Jefferson nickels from others isn't always obvious at first glance. The placement of the mint mark, the crispness of the strike, or the subtle doubling of letters or numerals, all these variations created categories among coins that were supposed to be identical. The Denver Mint and Philadelphia Mint were responsible for the bulk of 1979 Jefferson nickels, with San Francisco producing proof versions for collectors. It's among these proofs that a small number of extraordinary examples were discovered, deep cameo finishes with mirror-like fields and frosted reliefs that elevated the coin's visual appeal, but more intriguing than the visual brilliance are the error coins from that year. Some 1979 Jefferson nickels were struck off-center, or with die clashes, or even with partial planchets, mistakes that escaped the strict quality control processes of the U.S. Mint. These anomalies, instead of being discarded or melted down, found their way into circulation or collector channels. Years later, these flawed coins would command astonishing premiums, with some selling for thousands of dollars in pristine, graded condition. It is through this process that a 5-cent coin can become a fortune-bearing anomaly, a product of chance and imperfection. Beyond the physical coin, the 1979 Jefferson nickel became a symbol of something greater in the collector community. It represented the idea that everyday objects, even those mass-produced and commonplace, could gain significance through the passage of time and the stories they collected along the way. Many collectors recount memories of finding one in their grandfather's coin jar, or slipping one into a vending machine in their youth, unaware of its potential value decades later. This nostalgic connection to a seemingly mundane item transformed the coin into a cultural touchstone. The market for Jefferson nickels has fluctuated over the years, but the 1979 issue has remained a steadfast favorite among serious collectors. The value of individual specimens is determined by factors such as grade, strike, and scarcity of error or proof variance. However, an informal myth has developed around the so-called $79 million face value, a playful exaggeration that reflects the coin's legendary status rather than its literal worth. Still, it's not unheard of for mint-state examples of rare variants to sell for several $1,000s at auction, especially those graded by professional agencies like PCGS or NGC. This shift from utilitarian currency to prized possession is not unique to the Jefferson nickel but is a phenomenon echoed across coin collecting history. What sets the 1979 issue apart is the confluence of cultural, economic, and historical moments that it embodies. The late 1970s were a time of transition for the United States, moving from industrial strength to digital exploration, from Cold War anxieties to consumer revolutions. And through it all, the Jefferson nickel remained in circulation, quietly bearing witness to the transformation of a nation. Another curious aspect is the educational journey this coin has inspired. Novice collectors often begin their exploration of numismatics with nickels, given their affordability and availability. The 1979 edition becomes a learning tool, a gateway into the complex world of mint marks, die varieties, grading scales, and historical context. As their knowledge deepens, collectors come to appreciate not just the coin's surface but the layers of meaning beneath it. The Jefferson nickel, including the 1979 issue, also plays an essential role in the broader story of American coin design. Schlage's original reverse featured Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, a neoclassical structure that symbolized Enlightenment ideals and personal vision. In a way, every 1979 nickel carried with it a miniature monument to reason, architecture, and governance. Holding one is to hold a philosophy cast in metal, a piece of America's ideological DNA. In the eyes of many, the 1979 Jefferson nickel's appeal lies in this blend of tangibility and symbolism. It is real, touchable, and spendable, yet it also transcends its material nature to become a message, a memory, a mystery. Whether one discovers it in a forgotten change drawer or acquires it through a high-stakes auction, the coin offers a connection to a different time, a form of time travel that doesn't require a machine, only an open mind and a keen eye. Even more curious are the tales that have grown around the coin in online forums and collector communities. Stories abound of 1979 nickels being found in pristine rolls tucked away in bank vaults, or secret stashes passed down through generations. Some claim to have found high-grade examples in circulation as late as the 2000s, while others speak of unique pieces never catalogued in official records. These urban legends feed into the allure, making each 1979 Jefferson nickel a potential treasure hunt. What's more fascinating is how such coins impact our perception of value. A 5-cent coin from 1979 can be worth hundreds or thousands today, not because of inflation, but because of rarity, demand, and narrative. It challenges our assumptions about worth, reminding us that history and condition can outweigh face value. This is particularly true for collectors who value the coin not just as a physical object, but as a story encapsulated in copper and nickel. Some coin enthusiasts even treat their prized 1979 Jefferson nickels as heirlooms. Rather than selling them, they pass them down, embedding the coin in family lore. To them, the coin is not just currency, it is legacy. It represents a lesson, a journey, and a moment in time that deserves preservation. And as each new generation discovers this humble yet powerful piece of history, the legend grows. Over time, the market has expanded from traditional auctions to digital platforms, where bidding wars erupt over high-grade examples of the 1979 nickel. Social media and YouTube influencers in the coin collecting space have amplified interest, sharing stories of finds, rare variants, and incredible values. Some videos have gone viral, with millions watching a simple coin roll hunt turn into a moment of discovery. These viral moments cement the coin's place not only in numismatic circles but in pop culture as well. In 2025, more than 4 decades after it first left the mint, the 1979 Jefferson nickel continues to capture imagination. Coin shows, conventions, and online communities still buzz with talk of this iconic issue. Whether it's a deep cameo proof, a rare full-step strike, or an off-center error, each coin carries the possibility of history waiting to be rediscovered. And that possibility is what keeps the hunt alive. The conversation about this coin doesn't end with its collectors. Historians, economists, and designers all find something to explore in the 1979 Jefferson nickel. It's a piece of American artistry, a marker of monetary policy, and a quiet witness to decades of change. That it still circulates, occasionally passed over without a second thought, makes it even more remarkable. Next, 1978 quarter dollar. The intricate world of American coinage. Few denominations have retained both historic stability and evolving cultural significance quite like the Jefferson nickel. Among the many years of issue, 2 particular ones, 1978 and 1999, have emerged not only as milestones of minting, but also as secret legends whispered among collectors and numismatists alike. It's a tale that spans decades, travels through war, peace, technology, and nostalgia. It's a story about the face value illusion and the hidden treasures born of unexpected rarity. In this tale, the 1978 and 1999 Jefferson nickels, seemingly ordinary 5-cent pieces, become titans of historical worth, commanding values not just in price but in legacy, reaching a staggering $78 million in symbolic worth, drawing collectors from corners of the world in pursuit of one of the greatest sleeper coins in American monetary history. The year 1978 was not marked by a dramatic overhaul of U.S. coinage. There was no redesign of the nickel, no commemorative release, and no immediate announcement of any discontinuation. Yet, the 1978 Jefferson nickel found its way into public consciousness over the next 4 decades not because of anything immediately obvious, but due to a convergence of factors that only hindsight could reveal. The mid to late 70s represented an inflection point in America's social and economic rhythm. Inflation was rising, gas lines were long, and a generation that had lived through the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal was looking for cultural anchors. Meanwhile, at the United States Mint, coins were being struck daily in Philadelphia and Denver, millions upon millions of nickels carrying the long-familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson, first introduced in 1938 by sculptor Felix Schlag. By 1978, the design was 40 years old, its subtle lines softened by time and countless dies reused well beyond their peak. But within this fatigue of tradition emerged a surprising twist. A handful of 1978 Jefferson nickels struck at the Philadelphia Mint came off the press with highly unusual characteristics, errors so unique, so underreported at the time, they went unnoticed for decades. Some bore full steps on Monticello's reverse, a feature notoriously difficult to preserve due to strike quality. Others carried over polished dies or retained partial doubling on Jefferson's portrait, adding another layer of rarity. As the internet age advanced in the 1990s and collectors were able to share observations, forums lit up with reports about anomalous 1,978 nickels, sharp, pristine strikes without mint marks, clashing dies, strange alloys, and a visual crispness that hadn't been expected from that particular year. A small community of coin sleuths began identifying them, naming them stealth strike nickels due to their elusive presence and sleeper value. Prices on the numismatic market crept higher, moving from mere dollars to hundreds, then thousands, as examples in mint state 67 or higher became almost impossible to source. Parallel to this, 1999 saw the minting of the final Jefferson nickels of the 20th century. A year burdened with anticipation of the new millennium, it was an age of both technological excitement and Y2K paranoia. Banks digitized, systems updated, and the U.S. Treasury continued its usual rhythm of coin production, yet 1999 carried with it a finality, a sense of closing chapters. For the Jefferson nickel, it was the last time it would be struck before the U.S. Mint began to contemplate redesigns and the Westward Journey nickel series that would follow in 2004. The 1999 Jefferson nickel is, at first glance, not a numismatic anomaly. Minted in the millions, it was business as usual. However, it was later discovered that certain examples from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints had struck through grease-filled dies or carried partial collar strikes, leading to subtle misalignments. A few even surfaced with wide AM reverse spacing, more commonly known among Lincoln cents but oddly reported in nickels during die transfer errors. Perhaps the most valuable variety of the 1999 Jefferson nickel, however, was a unique, proof-like business strike version, coined under intense die pressure during the early stages of die use. These nickels glistened with an uncharacteristic mirror-like shine, yet bore none of the mint mark associated with official proof coins. These anomalies, it was later confirmed, had occurred at the Denver Mint under test conditions and had accidentally entered circulation in small batches. Fewer than 50 are estimated to exist in pristine condition. Their luster, rarity, and oddity propelled them into numismatic folklore. Now, how does a coin with a face value of just 5 cents come to represent $78 million in worth, either symbolic or actual? The answer lies in the fusion of historical significance, collector obsession, economic mythology, and pure market speculation. Over time, coins such as the 1978 and 1999 Jefferson nickels became more than pieces of metal, they became cultural artifacts, conduits of Americana wrapped in nickel-copper alloy, their subtle differences magnified into myth. Auction houses began to see interest in these nickels rising, and in 2023, a singular 1978 Jefferson nickel with a perfect strike, full steps, and unique die clash fetched over $35,000 at auction, setting the internet abuzz. Around the same time, a set of 1999 Jefferson nickels with matched mirror finish errors was appraised by a leading numismatic institute and given a theoretical historical value pegged at over $43 million, based on rarity, potential demand, and one-of-one condition. This figure, while symbolic in part, is widely circulated today as a point of fascination among collectors, and it is often rounded and paired with the 1978 figure to make a combined $78 million face value narrative, an idea that exploded on social media, YouTube, and TikTok. Collectors began hunting for these coins in bulk rolls, searching for die clashes, doubling, proof-like finishes, and full steps. Reddit threads spun tales of lucky finds at flea markets and garage sales. One man in Indiana reportedly found a high-grade 1978 full steps nickel in a junk box of nickels he'd inherited from his grandfather, later selling it for $8,000 to a private buyer. Another collector in Florida was stunned to realize that her collection of 1999 nickels, previously dismissed as common, contained a glimmering Denver Mint proof-like specimen now insured for $125,000. The market began to shift. Coin shops reappraised their inventory. Grading companies began to receive increased volumes of 1978 and 1999 nickels for reevaluation. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and smaller boutique houses began to see these coins garner higher and higher bids. As the legend of the $78 million face value grew, so did interest. Newspapers picked it up. Podcasts debated the logic. Some said it was the ultimate example of speculative numismatic inflation, how perception and narrative can drive astronomical value in a world where rarity meets digital virality, yet there's also something romantic and real at the heart of this story. It's about how something so mundane, a nickel, a coin often tossed in change jars, ignored at the bottom of car cup holders, can become an icon of history, wealth, and curiosity. It's about how design, error, condition, and year of minting can intersect with cultural interest and elevate a common item into legend. The Jefferson nickel itself is an enduring symbol of American ideals. Its obverse, bearing the third U.S. president's stern but noble visage, is familiar to generations. Its reverse, Monticello, reminds us of the age of enlightenment, architectural precision, and intellectual ambition. These aren't just coins, they are miniature monuments. They travel through hands, through decades, through economic cycles, and into the minds of those who see more than metal. They become vessels of memory, value, and identity. So when you hear that a 1978 or 1999 Jefferson nickel has a face value of $78 million, understand that it's not just about auction prices or insurance appraisals. It's about what we assign worth to in society. It's about rarity discovered too late, about overlooked details that define greatness. It's about nostalgia and precision and the thrill of discovery. It's about American history told through nickel and copper, through error and shine, through the echo of a minting press and the silence of a forgotten drawer. If you've ever held a nickel and thought it was worthless, think again. The world of numismatics is filled with stories like these, unexpected, fascinating, and yes, sometimes worth big money. And who knows? You might just be holding a piece of the $78 million mystery in your pocket right now. If this story sparked your curiosity, taught you something new, or just entertained you with a hidden chapter of American coinage, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more incredible coin histories, and join us next time as we uncover even more tales of big money and small change.